All right, now back with me here on the French Lick Resort guest line is Jason Hase, and let me remind you about Jason's background. He's from Tucumcari, New Mexico. He attended the New Mexico Military Institute in Roswell, New Mexico. He earned a certification as a PGA professional from the PGA of America back in 1998. He's been the vice president of the Northern Texas PGA section since 2016. He also served as the president of the Northern Texas PGA West chapter in 2012 and 13. Jason has been recognized with several awards, including the Bill Strasberg Award, which is a top honor given by the Northern Texas PGA West chapter. He also won that award in 2005, 2007, 2008, and 2016. He was the chapter's Golf Professional of the Year in 2011, 12, and 13, and Teacher of the Year in 2009 and 10. He was also the Merchandiser of the Year for private clubs in the Northern Texas PGA West chapter in 2004 and 6. He was the Manager of the Year in 1998 for Four Star Golf Corporation, while at Scott Park when he won the Northern Texas PGA Western Championship in 2010. He's helped start up the golf program at places like Angelo State University, which is a Division II school, and he helped get that program to national prominence in only their second year of existence. He's been the director of golf at clubs like Fair Oaks Country Club, San Angelo Country Club, and now Buffalo Dunes Golf Course in Garden City, Kansas. And I'm very honored he is back with me again tonight here on Next on the Tee. Hey, Jason, thanks for coming back on the show.
Hey, Chris, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure coming back and visiting with you.
I appreciate you. So, Jason, I want to start our time tonight, and you do such great work with players of all ages, but I really want to start off by focusing on your junior golfers. I saw that you've got an interesting program called Parents and Putting for players 10 and under. So talk about that program and the things you're doing junior golf-wise there at Buffalo Dunes.
You know, our Parents and Putting is something that we've kind of started. We set up a little putting course, obstacle course. We've had kids from 3 to 9 come out this summer, and we just kind of make it fun for them. We get the parents involved. It's kind of our on-ramp to getting the kids hooked on golf, and it's done well for us. We probably could have done a little bit better job of this summer. We've been busy. Junior golf has been, we've had lots of stuff going on with our PJ Junior League team. It's in its second year up here. Our local high school coach, his name is Trent Speck. We've got we have about 15 to 20 kids that come out a couple times a week to practice, to keep them kind of going through the summer. So we're staying pretty busy. That with everything else we've been doing, it's been a good summer.
And Jason, I know you've got one of your junior golfers that's getting ready to compete up there to try to qualify for the drive, chip, and putt in Augusta National. Talk about who that young player is.
So we've got a young man. This will be his second time to. His name is Braden Walters. He's a great. Just a great young man. He's 9. Last year he made it all the way to Houston, to the Woodlands Country Club. Didn't fare so well, but he's going back to the regional tournament in Tulsa on Thursday. And I actually got to spend quite a bit of time with him this afternoon, just working on routine and trying to use pre-shot routine and some different keys to kind of battle through the mental side of that. So,
and that's a great point, Jason, because that's going to be my next question. You know, for a young man or even young girl, right, 9 years old, all of a sudden now you're competing on a regional and hopefully a national level once they get all the way to Augusta National in the drive, chip, and putt. How do you keep them from getting too nervous and let all those sort of nerves get to them so it takes them off their game? Is there something you're teaching your young players, particularly this young man, to how to calm his nerves and stay in the moment?
You know, it's nothing new. We really focus on routine. We want to try to make his pre-shot routine and what he does as consistent as possible every time he hits the golf ball, chips the ball, putts the ball. his tendency is to get a little quick, and so we really work on trying to slow him down and trying to keep him a little more focused, and focus more on the routine, not so much what he's going to do after his routine. When he's getting ready to hit the shot, for him, it's, I've got to do this routine. I've got so much amount of time to do it in. And once he kind of gets in that rhythm or gets going, it's amazing how well his shot and how well he responds to that.
And Jason, when you're working with your junior players, is there something that you do to, help them sort of celebrate the small wins, whether it's they've hit a good shot, maybe they've made a great putt, those sorts of things to kind of keep them energized, keep them engaged, and keep them excited about playing?
One of the things I try to do is we very rarely focus on a bad shot. If we're in here in the teaching studio and we're hitting balls and we hit a squirrely one, I just call it what it is. It's a bad shot. Now, if we're working on some pitching or we've got some little targets that we stick out that are mobile, and we're hitting 40, 50, 60-yard pitch shots, and they hit one, we're going to celebrate that. It's a big deal. I want them to get excited. I mean, it's an accomplishment to hit a golf ball 60 yards and hit a target that's 3 feet wide. And so, I mean, I want to make it fun for them. I don't want them to feel like they're out here hitting golf balls. And we work on a lot of different motions too. We don't just hit a lot of golf balls. We're using alignment sticks and hitting impact bags, and we're on wobble boards and skateboards, and we're throwing golf balls, and we're trying to make the golf swing as dynamic a motion as pitching a baseball, swinging a pickaxe handle, just different things like that.
And Jason, nowadays we hear the mantra a lot about swing your swing, right? We see so many unconventional swings on the tour now, and that's not all that different from when you're looking back over the last several decades of guys and gals have their own sort of unique swing about it. Do you teach the classical swing, or how much individuality do you let particularly your junior golfers have regarding what their swing looks like?
We focus on posture, alignment, grip, all the basic fundamentals. But I always like to take whatever athleticism they have and have them make it as athletic golf swing as possible. Whether they get it laid off across the line, as long as we get it back to the bottom and the impact in a good position, we're going to be pretty solid. The classic golf swing is great, but there's some people that don't do it, and there's some people that are not doing it right now that are becoming pretty successful.
And Jason, I have to imagine when you're watching these kids and they're hitting the ball well, it's got to be pretty rewarding for you as an instructor. Do the kids ever come back to you and talk to you about your teaching and what they enjoy most about the game and why they continue to want to come and be a part of your junior program? They ever kind of give you that gee, coach, you're great at this, and it's something that really sticks out for you and it makes you feel good about the things that you're doing to help grow the game? That does happen, and the one word that they always use is we have fun. It's taking a golf lesson should be an experience. It shouldn't be like going to getting your immunizations at the doctor's office. It should be fun, and that's how we do it. I just like to make it fun. We use all different types of things. Like I said, pickaxe handles, alignment rods, brooms, balls. It's always fun to look at different instructors and how they use different equipment, different ways, and I'm always trying to make myself a better teacher by understanding the biomechanics of the golf swing, but
also how to relate that to a junior golfer or a lady or, a better player. So.
And Jason, moving on to, let's talk about some of your adult students and something that you kind of mentioned a moment ago, for folks that have athletic swings and trying to, cater to that. But as you start to have students that are senior golfers, guys like me who are 50s and above, 60s, 70s, a lot of times we've had injuries in our lives. A lot of times we're dealing with arthritis and other things. For those of us that maybe have some swing limitation, how do you help us, kind of at least get strike the ball where we need to strike it in the center of the face if we're dealing with old injuries and maybe we can't get back to parallel anymore on our backswings? How do you help the senior player get the most out of his or her game?
Everybody can move, can pivot. They can pick their feet up and kind of get that motion going. Obviously, some people are going to be a little more limited with knees and hips and stuff. But if, say, I've got somebody that can't really turn onto their right side, I may have them drop that right foot back and open that toe up a little bit where it does allow them to feel like they've got a little bit of a pivot. And then we really, really work hard on trying to get everything moving in the right direction, moving towards the target, not kind of hanging back. And there's lots of drills that you can do. And it really doesn't matter, at least in my opinion, it doesn't matter at what age you are. If you can take your athleticism and get that sequencing down correctly, you're going to hit the ball better. You may not hit it as far as you want, but at least you're going to hit it solid. You're going to keep it in play, and you're going to enjoy the game a little bit more.
Jason, for those of us who are struggling with directional issues, let's say if we're slicing the ball to the right into the trees, or we're overcompensating and we're pull hooking the ball to the left, what are some things that we can do to fix those issues?
The first thing I'd tell you is to make sure you're pointed where you think you're pointed. A lot of times, right-handed golfers will come over the top of it or pull it left because they're aimed a lot further right than they think they are. And it's pretty easy to throw an alignment stick down on the ground and make sure you're pointed exactly where you think you're pointed. That in itself fixes a lot of things. When you're square or your shoulders, hips, and feet are all pointed in the same direction, it's amazing what you can accomplish. Whether you want to try to swing from the inside out a little bit, that's the first thing. The next thing is just making sure we're not swinging from the shoulders, so to speak. We're going to have a little more, I like to call them Tyrannosaurus Rex arms, where we're going to hinge at the elbows a little bit more. I don't think people hinge at the elbows correctly a lot of times, and it's amazing. You kind of get somebody to understand as they pivot back that right elbow, how it will fold, and you can really sync up the arms and the body and change the direction of the path of the golf club. And there's hundreds of thousands of ways to swing the club. It's just if we can get you back into impact square with the ability that you've got, it's going to make the game more fun.
Jason, how about those of us that are chunking our iron shots? If we're hitting it fat consistently over and over and over again, what's something that we can do to make sure we're making better contact, hitting it clean and crisp as opposed to hitting behind the ball?
Again, I think that can go back to bad alignment. Also, ball position has a lot to do with that. If your golf ball is not centered or a little left of center for just your normal stock shot, and you're not rotating to the target or moving to the target, so to speak, to help kind of shallow the club out a little bit, you can chunk it. So we spend a lot of time trying to take a medicine ball and throwing it like you're making a golf swing. The other thing I like to use is I've got a couple of really long broom handles, and the longer the length, it just promotes you to swing a little more around yourself, and it helps kind of shallow out the club. It gives you a little bit better feel. Something else we do is I'll have the player. We've got a few places on the golf course where the ball can be above their feet, and again, you start working with that golf swing with the ball above their feet. Tends to shallow it out a little bit, and we don't get quite as steep coming into impact.
And as you mentioned ball position, Jason, are you a proponent of roughly the same ball position, or do you like the ball position to start moving back in our stance as we get, from the high, the 4 or 5 iron, maybe a little further back on the, 7, 8 iron, and a little further back on the pitch and wedge? Or do you prefer that ball position always to be towards our left heel?
There's the two schools of thought are start in the middle and move forward as the golf club gets longer, or off the left heel. I like either one of them. One of them is going to be optimal to the student you're teaching, and so I like both of them. It just depends on who I've got and where they feel comfortable the most.
Jason, switching gears a little bit, you've got the Garden City Charity Classic on the Symetra Tour coming there to Buffalo Dunes the first week of September. How are things going in preparation for that event?
They are in full swing. The community here in Garden City and surrounding areas, Dodge City, Liberal, everybody just gets behind that event. It's one of probably the biggest sporting event in this part of the world. We've got all those ladies that come in and spend a week with us, and we're very proud to have that tournament and be associated with the Symetra Tour.
What kind of crowds do you typically get for that event?
It just depends on the weather. Last year, crowds were down a little bit because it was a little cooler. But it just all depends on the weather. I mean, first part of September in Southwest Kansas, it could be 85 and perfect, or it could be 55 and blowing. So we have the amount of volunteers that we have that volunteer and then stick around, and we'll get 400 or 500 people a day that come out, it's just a great event. We have a big party with all the ladies and sponsors, and then it's just fun. One of the things we did last year, I think we talked about it a little bit last year, probably about this time, is the charity that we had didn't quite fit what we were trying to do, and so there's 11 area lady high school golf programs in Southwest Kansas. Those actually became the charity, and we wrote about $22,000 worth of checks to the high school programs to help improve girls golf in Southwest Kansas. One of the things that we did is we had about 70 girls, high school girls, show up Wednesday after our pro-am. We had about 35 to 40 Symetra Tour players, and it was kind of like watching a junior high dance. The Symetra girls were on one side, the high school girls were on the other side, and we kind of had to help get them together. And once we got them together, it was just kind of crazy. The girls were asking questions about playing college golf and what's it like to play on the tour and what's travel like. The girls helped the ladies with their golf swings and chipping and putting. We didn't quite know what it would look like when we did it, but it was a home run, and we're looking forward to doing that again. So.
That's great. Jason, just a couple more before I let you go. I saw that you guys are trying to raise some funds for a new clubhouse there at Buffalo Dunes. Talk about that effort.
So we created an organization called Friends of Buffalo Dunes. It's a private nonprofit to help raise money for a new clubhouse. It's going to kind of be a public-private team effort. The clubhouse that we have is really outdated. It actually looks like a Pizza Hut, and there's just not a lot of space, and the space we do have is not utilized real well. So we've got plans to build a new clubhouse. We're actually fixing to present some stuff to our city commission here, hopefully in the next 2 to 3 months, on where we want to do it, how it's going to look, all that stuff. So it's much needed. We have very limited restroom space. When we have a 100-player scramble or fundraising event, and everybody's in the golf shop and the clubhouse after play, and then we're trying to check other play in. It's really crowded. You get to know your neighbor pretty well, and we just need a little more space. We've outgrown what we've got, and we're looking forward to getting this ball rolling. And again, the community of Garden City and surrounding areas are, they're pretty generous, and it's going to be fun to kind of see this project come to fruition.
Jason, for any of our listeners who might want to get involved and help out, is there a way for them to get in touch either with you, with the golf course, or a website they can go to get more information and be a part of it?
I would say probably the best thing right now would be to holler at me. They can reach me at my email address, or they can call the golf shop. My email address is jason.hase, Hase, at gardencityks.us. And the number to the shop is 276-1221 is my direct line. And then, there's the Friends of Buffalo Dunes Facebook page, or just, the City of Garden City website.
Jason, let our listeners know, remind them again how they can stay up to date with all the great things that you do, whether it's online or it's on social media.
They can follow me on Instagram at JHasePGA. You can find me on Twitter. I believe it's PGA JHaze. You can follow me on Facebook. Those 3 social media entities are fantastic, and it's amazing the stuff that you can accomplish using those.
Well, Jason, it's always a pleasure having you as part of the show. Thank you for coming back and joining me again tonight. I hope you'll come back and update us on how things are going out there and how the event goes on from the Symetra Tour as well. But I can't thank you enough for being here again tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you as always. It's a pleasure. Appreciate what you do for golf and all things golf related. And next time you talk to Natalie Sheary, tell her I said hello, and we'll see her in about 3 or 4 weeks. So we'll get her a caddy lined up, and it's always good to have her back in Garden. So
I'll absolutely pass that along. She's one of my favorites. So look forward to hearing all about that and getting her back out there and getting you back on the show again real soon, Jason. All the best to you and your family.
Yes,
we'll catch up soon.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris.
All right, Jason. Take care. That's
Bye-bye.
Jason Hase. Hase is the spelling of his last name, and doing great things out there at Buffalo Dunes. Get involved. Friends of Buffalo Dunes. Check him out on Facebook and see how you can help that great cause, and look forward to getting Jason back on the show again real soon, hopefully catching up after the Symetra Tour event, hear how that went, and maybe we can get him on the same time as our good friend Natalie Sheary. So thanks to Jason. Look forward to having him back.